On October 12, 2025, the usually tranquil turquoise waters near Pagasa Island became the stage for a dramatic confrontation that would capture the world's attention. What began as a routine day in the West Philippine Sea quickly spiraled into a high-stakes standoff. As the eyes of the region, and the globe, turned to this remote but fiercely contested corner of the ocean, a Philippine humanitarian mission, intended to deliver much-needed supplies to isolated communities, was suddenly thrust into danger. The Filipino crew, expecting a straightforward operation, instead found themselves on the front lines of a geopolitical flashpoint, their ship's decks tense with anticipation and uncertainty. Without warning, 6 Philippine Bureau of Fisheries vessels, each loaded with food, water, and medical aid, were encircled by a formidable Chinese flotilla. More than 20 Chinese ships, including a heavily armed warship, closed in just 1.6 nautical miles from the Philippine shore, an unmistakable show of force that sent shockwaves through the crew and observers alike. The situation escalated rapidly. The Chinese Coast Guard unleashed powerful water cannons on 3 of the smaller Philippine vessels, drenching their decks and battering their hulls. This was not just a warning, it was a calculated act of intimidation, designed to force the Filipinos to retreat and abandon their mission. Then, in a shocking and dangerous escalation, a Chinese vessel rammed the BRP Datu Pagbuaya. The impact tore into the Filipino ship's hull, leaving it damaged and vulnerable. Miraculously, no crew members were injured, but the message was clear. China was willing to use force to assert its claims. Despite the overwhelming odds and the very real threat to their safety, the Filipino sailors stood their ground. With determination etched on their faces, they refused to yield, defending not just their vessel, but the sovereign waters of their nation. This confrontation was not an isolated incident. It was the latest in a long and troubling pattern of harassment, as China repeatedly seeks to impose its will on the West Philippine Sea. For years, Filipino fishermen and sailors have faced intimidation, blockades, and even violence, each encounter a reminder of the ongoing struggle for control in these contested waters. The standoff near Pagasa Island drew a clear line in the sea, exposing China's so-called gray zone tactics, actions that stop short of open warfare, but are meant to wear down resistance and test the resolve of the Filipinos. The world watched as the two sides faced off, the tension palpable, the stakes higher than ever. Outnumbered but undeterred, the Filipino crews sent a powerful message to the world. The Philippines will not surrender its sovereign rights no matter the odds. Their courage and determination in the face of overwhelming force became a symbol of national pride, and a warning that the struggle for the West Philippine Sea is far from over. The West Philippine Sea is more than just a place on the map. It is a living, breathing testament to the resilience and spirit of the Filipino people. Its vast blue expanse stretches beyond the horizon, connecting islands, communities, and generations. It's the lifeblood of the nation, sustaining millions who depend on its waters for their daily needs. Every morning, as the sun rises, Filipino fishermen set out in their humble boats, braving the waves and the unknown, driven by hope and tradition. This stretch of sea, within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, is a treasure trove of marine biodiversity, home to vibrant coral reefs, countless species of fish, and other marine life. It is also a vital artery for international shipping, with busy lanes that connect the Philippines to the rest of the world. Beneath its surface lie untapped energy reserves, oil and gas that could power the nation for generations to come. For generations, Filipino fishermen have relied on these waters for food and income, passing down their knowledge and skills from parent to child. Their lives are intertwined with the rhythms of the sea, and their stories are woven into the fabric of coastal communities. The sea's bounty feeds millions and supports entire communities, filling markets with fresh catch and bringing people together in celebration and sustenance. It is the foundation of local economies, providing jobs and livelihoods for countless families. Protecting these waters is crucial for national food security, ensuring that future generations will continue to enjoy the nourishment and abundance the sea provides. Without it, the nation's food supply and way of life would be at risk. Beneath the waves, vast reserves of oil and natural gas hold the promise of energy independence and economic growth. These resources could help fuel the nation's future, powering homes, industries, and dreams. The West Philippine Sea is also a strategic gateway for global trade, with thousands of ships passing through its waters each year. Its shipping lanes are essential, not only for the Philippines, but for the world, making its stability and freedom of navigation a matter of international importance. Ensuring safe passage and upholding maritime law is a global concern, as any disruption could impact economies far beyond the Philippines' shores. For the Philippines, control over these waters is about more than resources. It is about security, national identity, and the right to determine its own destiny. The sea is a symbol of sovereignty and pride. The ongoing dispute is not just a matter of politics or policy, it is deeply personal. It's about the fisherman in Palawan who depends on the sea, the energy workers who see hope in offshore platforms, and every Filipino whose future is tied to these waters. It is about the right to self-determination, to stand up for what is just, and to protect the nation's heritage for generations yet unborn. The West Philippine Sea is woven into the Filipino soul, a source of life, hope, and unbreakable unity. In 2013, the Philippines made a bold move on the world stage, taking China to court at the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague. Instead of resorting to military force or escalating tensions, the Philippines chose to rely on international law, seeking a peaceful and principled solution to a long-standing maritime dispute. The case directly challenged China's sweeping claims over the South China Sea, which were based on its ambiguous and controversial 9-dash line. This line, drawn by China, encompassed vast areas of the sea, overlapping with the exclusive economic zones of several Southeast Asian nations, including the Philippines. The stakes were high, as the region is rich in natural resources and vital for global trade. In July 2016, after years of careful deliberation, the Permanent Court of Arbitration delivered a landmark ruling. The tribunal ruled decisively in favor of the Philippines, declaring China's expansive claims invalid under international law. The court affirmed Manila's sovereign rights to its exclusive economic zone, setting a powerful legal precedent for the region. This historic ruling gave the Philippines not only a strong legal foundation, but also a moral victory. It clarified the country's rights to fish, explore for oil and gas, and manage resources within its own waters, rights that are crucial for the livelihoods of Filipino fishermen and the nation's economic future. The Philippines' approach was not an act of aggression, but a determined quest for justice and fairness under the rules of international law. By turning to the courts, the Philippines demonstrated its commitment to peace, dialogue, and the global legal order. The arbitral award became the cornerstone of Philippine diplomacy, serving as both a shield and a rallying point in its David and Goliath struggle against a much larger neighbor. It empowered the Philippines to assert its rights on the international stage and inspired other nations facing similar challenges. Today, the 2016 Arbitral Award stands as a living testament to the enduring power of international law in the South China Sea. It reminds the world that even small nations can seek justice and uphold their rights through peaceful means, shaping the future of the region for generations to come. China flatly rejected the 2016 arbitral ruling, dismissing it as waste paper and refusing to comply. Instead, Beijing accelerated its island-building campaign, transforming reefs into military outposts, its so-called Great Wall of Sand. These artificial islands, bristling with runways and radar, project Chinese power deep into Philippine waters. From these bases, China harasses Filipino fishermen and blocks resupply missions, defying international law. Beijing's counter-narrative blames the Philippines, inverting reality to justify its actions. By ignoring the legal judgment, China seeks to legitimize its coercion and sow confusion on the world stage. Under President Marcos Jr., the Philippines has shifted to assertive transparency, exposing China's actions to the world. The Philippine Coast Guard now documents and publicizes every incident, often with journalists on board. Real-time photos and videos of Chinese aggression flood news and social media, countering disinformation. This strategy internationalizes the conflict, rallying global support and making it harder for nations to stay silent. The transparency campaign turns legal principles into human stories of Filipino courage. President Marcos Jr. has vowed not to surrender a square inch of territory, backed by evidence and public resolve. By shining a light on the West Philippine Sea, the Philippines stands for all nations that value a rules-based order. The government's firm stance is powered by overwhelming public support. A 2024 survey showed 94% of Filipinos backed the transparency policy, uniting the nation across regions and political divides. Viral videos of Filipino crews enduring water cannons have become symbols of resilience and pride. The slogan, "Atin ang West Philippine Sea," rallies citizens, civil society, and institutions in solidarity. This groundswell gives the government a strong mandate and warns leaders against appeasement. Filipinos demand a government that defends territory and upholds the 2016 victory. This unity is the Philippines' greatest strength, fueling resolve at sea and in diplomacy. The Philippine Coast Guard, PCG, is now the nation's most trusted defender in the West Philippine Sea. Once overlooked, the PCG's professionalism and courage have made it a symbol of national pride. Surveys show Filipinos trust the PCG above all for updates on the maritime dispute. Commodore J. Tariella and his crews have become credible voices, calmly presenting evidence to the world. The PCG's civilian-led approach de-escalates conflict while asserting rights, winning both the information war and public trust. Their presence on the front lines, and in the headlines, embodies the nation's resolve. The Philippines is not alone. Its stand has rallied a coalition of allies. The United States, under the Mutual Defense Treaty, has condemned China's aggression and clarified its commitment to defend Philippine vessels. U.S. support includes joint patrols, military exercises, and intelligence sharing, deterring further escalation. Japan and Australia provide patrol vessels, training, and diplomatic backing, while the EU, UK, and Canada echo support for the arbitral ruling. Surveys show Filipinos see the US, Japan, and Australia as key partners. This international chorus reframes the dispute as a test of the global rules-based order, isolating China diplomatically. The Philippines now wields diplomatic and security leverage it never had alone. The West Philippine Sea saga is a modern epic, a small nation standing firm against a giant. The Philippines, armed with law and courage, refuses to be bullied out of its waters. Coast Guard and fisheries crews have become icons of Filipino bravery, holding the line with skill and resolve. The nation's unity and international support have transformed it from victim to active defender of its destiny. Assertive transparency has turned the tables, exposing aggression to global scrutiny. This is a fight for the soul of the nation and the future of international order. The Filipino spirit, tested by history, remains unyielding and brave. The waves of the West Philippine Sea carry a clear message: the Philippines stands firm.